The love and preference of TV series over regular movie sets has over the years grown incredibly. This might probably on the basis that the longevity and continuity of TV shows helps grow a sort of bond between these beloved characters and their constantly wowed audience. Whatever the case there is, it could be agreed on that, over time, aside from the great deal of work in form of rehearsals and planning, an equally significant amount of financial resources is steadily poured into these various blockbuster series that we love so much. This is why today we would be discussing exactly that, the list of the most expensive TV series and the details of how much they spend to constantly provide us with these suspense-packed and memorable episodes of fun. Do bear in mind, however, that the basis of our ratings and the whole listing is solely on their production budget and expenses. With that being said, let's kick it off. 10. Sense8, $9 million per episode. Placed 10th on our list, we start off with a modern-age American series created by the directors of The Matrix, the Wachowskis. The series was introduced in 2015 and went on for 2 seasons of 24 episodes. Being a scientific-inspired seasonal, there existed the need for a substantial budget, which was also then bumped up due to the fact that multiple scenes were regularly shot at different locations across the globe. All these, in conjunction with the payments for the cast and crew, brings its production budget to a total of $9 million per episode. 9. Marco Polo, $9 million per episode. Marco Polo was officially introduced to air late 2014. Prior to its debut, the scientific thriller had great ambitions as they were provided a budget of $9 million per episode. These ambitions were unfortunately fluttered due to poor reception by the audience, which in no way matched their investments. This led to the end of the series as the giant production company Netflix were reported to have incurred a huge debt. 8. Big Bang Theory, $9 million per episode. For a set that has a watch time of less than 30 minutes to constantly expend a budget of almost $10 million, there is, of course, the occasional speculation of overspending. The popular American series over time experienced an exciting turnaround in contrast to its early days, becoming exactly just like its name, a Big Bang. It grew into a series so big even its theme song was highly paid for. Amongst other production expenses is the large paycheck earned by each of its 7 centered casts, who were each assumed to be receiving a little below $1 million for every episode they starred in, highlighting again that big names do make and sustain big shows. 7. Friends, $10 million per episode. Our 7th most expensive TV series is one of NBC's great works and probably its most successful. Through its decade of airing, the series gradually evolved into being one of the most lovable sitcoms, rightfully receiving positive ratings, nominations, and awards. The big expectancy probably meant it required a matching budget, which grew to about $10 million per episode. Ironically, a significant percentage of this budget was dedicated to retaining the services of their special actors and actresses. These household names reportedly bagged a paycheck of at least $1 million for each episode they took part in. 6. The Get Down, $11 million per episode. The Netflix series premiered in 2016 and was provided with a large budget to aid in ensuring quick and steady profits were gained back by the streaming organization. The series was provided a whopping $120 million for the various financial requirements of its first season, averaging a budget per episode of $11 million. These included salaries, setup, and production costs, including expensive fees for the rights to classic R&B and funk songs, which were sorted out for in course of the musical series. Unfortunately, the high expectancy didn't materialize, and it was discontinued at the end of the first season. 5. Stranger Things, $12 million per episode. The list would somewhat be deemed incomplete without the inclusion of the most popular Netflix series yet. The series, which centers around a group of kids and their horrific and supernatural experiences growing up, launched its first season in 2016 with a slim capital of $6 million per episode. But as television rights and their popularity grew, so did the financial allocation. Success incurred by the popular series includes 6 wins from 39 Primetime Emmy Awards nominations, multiple Grammy Awards nominations, multiple American Awards nominations, amongst other exciting awards. With an initial total budget of about $136 million for the first season, the show is, as of the fourth season, reported to be expending an estimated cost of $12 million per episode. 4. Band of Brothers, $12.5 million per episode. On our fourth listing, we feature one of the creations of HBO. The high cost associated with this series wouldn't be that much of a surprise if you've seen an episode of the miniseries. The Band of Brothers follows the storyline of the 101st Airborne Division of World War II. The piece features a large cast who had a lot of attention paid towards the provision of their exact costumes. It also saw the use of greatly enhanced fire action and a setting of the original imitated war venues. All these justifiably brings the budget of the action series to $12.5 million per episode. 3. ER, $13 million per episode. ER, which stands for Emergency Room, is a medical drama series that tells the tales of various happenings around the confines of the hospital. The series by Michael Crichton made its debut release in September 1994. The production of this medical drama sees NBC partner with the well-established Warner Brothers, managing to introduce as much as 15 seasons with a total of 331 episodes over 15 years. This record places it as the longest-running primetime medical drama in American television, only next to Grey's Anatomy, and fifth in the world. It also managed to win 25 Emmy Awards and a total of 116 award nominations amongst other notable awards. The huge cast and production costs lead to a regular budget of $13 million per episode. But this was no problem as long as the multiple Emmy Awards winner continues to generate huge returns. This was, in fact, the case. By 2014, they had managed to gross more than $3 billion in revenue. 2. The Crown, $13 million per episode. The Crown is another Netflix original whose premise is centered on the recreation of historical events and moments about the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, from her wedding in 1947 down to events in the early 21st century. The Crown made its original release in November 2016 and currently has a total 40 episodes from 4 seasons and counting. The enormous $13 million budget goes into the outsourcing of costumes as well as the arrangement and provision of matching buildings and sceneries that depict the setting of 20th century Britain. The series featured sets from private quarters, the interior of a private jet, the cabinet room, and the creation of the exterior of 10 Downing Street, which were built at Elstree Studios. 1. Game of Thrones, $15 million per episode. Finally, the number 1 spot. Just as many of you might have guessed, ranked in pole position for our compilation of the most expensive TV series is HBO's Game of Thrones. The highly rated set, which premiered back in 2011, grew steadily both in their audience and its ratings. And with this, the cost of creating and setting up episodes of the action series also grew. From an allocation of $6 million per episode, increments in needed quality and high expectancies have bumped up budgets to as much as $15 million per episode, more than double its initial cost. The bulk sum goes into bills of maintaining its large casts, the edits, and high visual representations such as the battle scenes, the enormous dragon, as well as the various choices of shooting locations. With these numbers, you would have surely gotten an idea of the bulk sums that go into producing your favorite series,